just scaffold my way over here. And just shovel this out. Alright, so we have 2 on one side, 2 on the other, and then 3, and then 3. That's the pattern. And then in between, we have this. Now the question is, do I put... Let's just fill that in. It's a bit strange. Alright, and then here on the other side we have this. Let's see what that looks like. Fine, that looks fine. Alright, good. Good, done. That was easy. There is a lot of cobble, and I don't know if... See, like when it's down here, it's like a thin line of cobble in between the grass, and that's fine. But when it gets to that staircase there, there's a lot of cobble there. Just wondering if I want to change this or not. Is that too much cobble? Is that too much cobble, or... But I want to keep it consistent, right, with the rest of the park. I don't know. Let me leave that. Let me leave that for now. What else do we need to do? Everything else is straightforward. I can do that off camera. Oh, I might as well just show you now. So I want to, cause like the green is a bit too flat, I think. So I want to put some flowers in. And the flowers are just gonna be. What I think I'll do is I've got a bunch of bones and bone meal over here in the chest. I think I'll just plant the bone meal, maybe like 4 patches, and then remove the grass and the tall grass so that only the flowers remain. And if there's no flowers, then there's no flowers. So then by the end of it, there'll be like multicolored flowers, hopefully, in each of these. So there's only, so I put that in, so there's going to be 2 flowers there. So there's no flowers there, right? So we're just going to remove all the grass again. And whatever the bone meal gives us, we'll just keep the flowers. Huh, no flowers. Fascinating. So by the end of it, there won't be very many flowers, but there'll be maybe like spots of colors here and there. So there's a yellow flower there. So yeah, by the end of it, there'll be spots of colors here and there in each of these squares. And there'll be enough. So it'll be mostly green. Green squares with grey borders and spots of flowers. Are there really only red and yellow flowers still? Can you not get the other flower types? I thought you could get the other types of flowers with the bone meal. But I'm only getting the poppies and the dandelions, I think, there. Huh. Did they mess that up? There are more flower types, right? There are different colors of flowers. What happened to that? I thought there's gonna be... No, it's just the yellow and the red. Wow, okay. Did they... I don't know. I thought they patched the. So can we really not get the other flower types using just the bone meal? Alright, so I'm just gonna do that with each square so that you get flowers in every single square. I was hoping for more flower types though, so then there'll be like multicolored dots along the landscape. Okay, is there anything else that we need to do before I go around and build all these staircases? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know how you guys feel about the change. I mean, earlier I was talking about, wanting this to be kind of natural but kind of not, so that I'm flattening these things into these squares, but kind of keeping them in the same shape as the land before. And you can see how there's an interesting mixture of the trees, which are random and, with their natural placements. But then underneath the trees, there are these very clearly defined squares. But then the squares don't, they go up and down, and then the obsidian columns go up and down, and so there's a certain contour to the obsidian and the squares. And you can kind of see how the original landscape was, because you see how tall that is, and then there's a hill there. So originally the hill went up, right, if you remember that. And so then the obsidian and the squares and all of that, they retain a hint of the shape of the land as it was before. But then they've been kind of regularized and they've been squared off. And so there's this interesting interaction between the squares and the shape of the land and the trees, which are, random. I don't know if you see that. I find that kind of interesting. So it's kind of shaped, but it's also kind of natural, like that. Alright, so I'm gonna do the stairs thing and do the flowers thing. And then after that, I think we're done. Like, there's not gonna be too much else for us to do. Like, this is what I had in mind. It's kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool, actually. I like the way it turned out. Alright, I'll do the stairs thing and the flowers thing, and then I'll come back and finish off, and I'm done. Alright, so I think I'm done here with the Obsidian Garden on top of the old fireworks. Let us just walk around a little bit and look at this. I don't know if you guys... Oh, there's a bit of grass there. I don't know if you guys remember what this was like before I built all of this. It's only a few videos ago, I guess. So, I mean, it used to be sloping hills with trees on it, and then a few obsidian things. So now, the squares, now that I've kind of divided the space into squares and flattened them out, it's very obvious that, somebody built this, rather than it being natural. And yet, at the same time, the original trees are all still here, and I've added the wildflowers to the flowers. It was because my world was a forest biome, and so I changed it to a flower forest biome, and then I got all the different flowers. So I changed the biomes in my world. Anyway, so back to this. So yeah, so the trees are still there, and then there's the flowers too. So it's kind of like there's the squares, and then there's the random, flowers and trees, and then there's the, there's the regular grid of the squares and the obsidian, but then they're all different heights, right? So they're still following the same heights from the original landscape. So then, it's kind of regular, but it's also kind of irregular. So I like that. I like that interaction between the two. I also spawned a whole bunch of chickens here because it seemed really dead without any animals. I wish there were easier ways to just kind of spawn animals in the world. I know you can breed them, but breeding them is so slow. Maybe, I don't know. I wish there was some way to kind of allow animals to spawn naturally. Again, maybe some sort of magic or some sort of, I don't know, some sort of bait that kind of just makes things spawn automatically. Just like not a lot, but maybe just, if you kind of put them down and then walk away, maybe after a while the animals will just kind of appear around maybe a totem or something. I don't know, something like that. So I'm just let me just go to the higher squares so you can kind of look out at the shapes. So I mean, as you walk around here, you kind of see the interactions right between the grass. So the horizontal bits are grass, the vertical bits are stone, and then there's the trees. So it's the green, the gray, the black, the green, and the brown, and then there are spots of colors with the flowers. So there's a kind of a good mix of colors, and there's kind of a clear stratification, I guess. So there's a clear kind of separation between the colors. So if you see the colors, you understand what you're looking at. So the gray bits are the stairs, and then the green bits are the leaves and the grass, and so we separate them. So that whereas before, if you just look at a natural landscape, well, natural in Minecraft, if you just look at a natural landscape, often you'll just see green and green. Well, I guess there's the brown in the middle. I guess we've replaced those. So you look at that, right? So there's on the ground there's green, on the leaves there's green, and then there's brown in the middle where the hills are. So that's the separation between the colors there. I guess here we've replaced the brown with the gray, and that is enough to signify that I've built this, as opposed to this being a natural thing. So this was the intention all along, and it turned out pretty much the way I expected. As I was doing this, like before I put the flowers in, it looked kind of flat because there was too much just green squares and not enough kind of colors in the middle. And so that's why I chose to plant the flowers, of course. And and now everything looks pretty good. It's not that remarkable because the landscape around here is mostly natural. And so, having natural trees and flowers isn't that amazing. But if you imagine if we built this in the middle of a city somewhere, then it would be a nice park for the city. The long-term plan, even though it might take many, many years. Oh no, all the baby chickens are following the single adult. That's hilarious. That's pretty good, actually. Alright, well. Yeah, so, I mean, the long-term plan is to eventually fill this area with various buildings, and this would be a park in the midst of the city if I ever build a city, for example. Alright, so, is there anything else? Is there anything else for me to say, or for us to look at? Not really. I'm not sure if I've explained the concept enough or clearly enough. I think I have. So the idea is to have like a half natural, half designed landscape, which this has become. So there's elements of it that's natural, and then there's elements of it that's very regular and designed, and putting them right on top of each other like this, like having the trees, and then the grid underneath, and then the flowers. So then this kind of is just a very tight mix of those two types of things, if that makes sense. Alright, so I guess I'll end the video here. Actually, what does it look like from the outside? Oh, and when you're inside, you never see the whole thing neither. Like if you go up onto the hill, for example, you can see the whole thing, kind of. But even so, like a lot of it is obscured by the trees, whereas if you're in the middle of it, you don't see the boundaries really, because like you can't really see beyond the trees and the leaves. And so then if you're like here and you look around, it looks like the whole, like the landscape just goes on forever in the same way around you. Right? You don't see the boundary of it, and you don't really see all the other parts neither, because so much of it is like behind other things. And so as you walk through the space, there's just kind of layers and layers and layers, and the squares go up and down, and so just this kind of and then the chickens. So it's just this kind of large field of this thing that just goes on for a long time, which is kind of cool. Like when you kind of walk through it, you can't see the other side, right? So you kind of have to. There's an element of exploration. There's an element of finding your way through this landscape. So there's that too. Is there anything else? Oh, looking at it from the outside, let's go up that hill and see what it looks like from up there. This might actually show us the whole thing, maybe. Let me see. Alright, so from up here it looks like this. So I guess this is as good a view of this as we're ever gonna get. Or maybe we can go up to the wall and look down. So yes, you can see it laid out before you, especially if there's a hill on the other side. You can kind of see the squares kind of stepping upwards and downwards like that. And then there's the flowers. Interesting. We're missing a few trees there, to be honest. I think that was where I built the prototype for these fireworks things. And I might have chopped down a few trees there. Let's go to the wall and look at it from above. I mean, as I'm looking at this, I'm kind of slightly concerned that there isn't really any place where you can see the whole thing, because whichever position you're in, there's always kind of trees blocking something. So you never really see the whole thing. But I guess that's the point, isn't it? That's kind of the point, is that you don't really see the whole thing. Let's go up higher. And what do we see from up here? Alright, I guess this is... Yeah, so even up here, like, there's still these trees in the way. But you can see the whole thing. There you go, that's the whole thing in the same... on the same screen. Like that. Alright, I guess we're done there. And I'll see you guys whenever I decide to build something again in Minecraft. See you.